Schalke 04, oh Schalke 04.
This question comes from Joseph Lacrita, and it's a three-part question, so we'll take it each part at a time. First one is, I'm worried about the attacking power that black and yellow has. Obviously talking about our rivals. How can we compete against that come derby time? For those of you who've been living in a cave or purposely avoiding black and yellows, and I don't blame you, they got this kid, 19 years old, some guy named Haaland, I guess. We all know who he is. He's got another 2 goals this weekend, 7 goals in 2.5 games, 3 games. He's already in the top 10 in scoring in the Bundesliga in 3 games. It's unreal. This kid is everything that all the hype was about. Dortmund was very inconsistent before he arrived. Now that he's there, they seem to be pumping in goals, 5 goals games, it seemed like, with him there. They do seem much more dangerous, Jack. How do we compete with them when it comes to the derby?
It's a very good question. And yeah, I am concerned about the firepower of Borussia Dortmund. As you said, Dortmund have scored 5 goals in every game since Haaland joined them. Obviously, he did not start all of those, but even off the bench was making a huge impact. Even through 2 games, had scored more goals than any Schalke striker in the entire season. And he had played less than 90 minutes at that point. I don't know if that says more about us or more about him. Probably equal amounts. But yeah, I'm concerned. I think Dortmund is a team that at times has kind of looked a little shaky defensively. And while their offense has kind of mostly carried them through, they can sputter occasionally. But since this, Gio Reyna's kind of coming through and Haaland's been an absolute revelation, suddenly that's kind of clicking into gear. And I mean, I don't care how bad Dortmund's defense is, and it's not that bad. But I'm saying, that's a criticism of them to some extent. I don't care how bad it is. If you're scoring 5 goals a game, you're not going to lose.
Yeah,
like your defense has to be pretty atrocious for you to not pick up 3 points if you're scoring those kind of goals. Now, is 5 goals sustainable for a season? Of course not, and they're not going to keep doing that. But Haaland is terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean, straight up, like he just is. The kid's really good, and I said that before Dortmund signed him, and I'm concerned about it because if you look at the table right now, and I think we might have talked about this last week, but Schalke very much in the mix in terms of their defensive record. And I think they still have the fewest goals conceded from open play in the league this season. They've conceded a bunch from set pieces. So they're not the best defensive record, but from open play, they are the best defensive record. And their stats defensively are very much in line with a lot of the other top teams. But if you look at the table in terms of goals scored, Bayern's got 58, Dortmund's got 56, Leipzig's got 53, Schalke has 31. So there's a pretty significant drop-off between the teams that are comfortably in a Champions League spot, probably. I mean, I know it's very much open up of the air still, but there's a couple teams that are really separating themselves in terms of the offensive output. Yeah. And that is a concern for me because I don't think we can match that, and it's going to be really difficult to compete on goal difference if the table continues to be as tight as it is. We might get into a situation where we're tied on points with somebody at the end of the season. If we don't pick it up offensively, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, really, the top 4 are really starting to separate themselves now. There's a 5-point gap between the 4th position, Gladbach, and 5th and 6th position, which is Leverkusen and us. So yeah, and those are the top 4 teams are the teams that are scoring the goals as opposed to us and Leverkusen and whatnot. So that is worrisome. If it comes down to goal differential or whatever, we are not going to be in the mix of that, in that at all. But in terms of the firepower that Dortmund have, it is terrifying, like you said, what Haaland is bringing to this team, what he brings in general, and then how his team is kind of energized by his approval. And I mean, it's feed off of him. It's crazy, just how well he's doing for them and how much they're scoring. What are we going to do? I don't know, because we saw what we did against Bayern, and we didn't look good at all, and I don't think Bayern was at even full strength at that point. So it'll be interesting. We're going to have to be very, very good, very disciplined defensively to have a chance in this one. And then when we get our opportunities, be clinical. We cannot give up these chances because teams like Dortmund and Bayern and Leipzig, they will take advantage of you if you don't finish your opportunities. So I think we need to be clinical as much as possible. And hopefully some players step up, whether it's the strikers or midfielders or whatever. It's going to be very, very difficult, and at present, I am terrified to see with the Derby looming ahead. But we still got several weeks ahead. If it was this weekend coming up, I'd be terrified even more so. But we got some time before the Derby where we can kind of get our sails straightened out and get in the right foot. But we'll see.